Before we begin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss stories that reveal the hidden truths behind Hollywood's most talked about families. Today's story is one that millions have followed for more than a decade. It is emotional, complicated, and filled with choices that shaped a young girl's entire life. For 12 long years, the world watched quietly as a father and daughter drifted farther apart. Now that silence has finally started to shift. Not through interviews, not through drama, but through the simple actions of a daughter growing up. This story goes far beyond fame and headlines. It reaches into the heart of what it means to love, to lose, and to start again. And it begins with a little girl who never asked for the spotlight that followed her. 2. When Surrey was born in 2006, she instantly became one of the most photographed children in the world. Her parents, Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes, were Hollywood royalty at the time. Their love story looked like a movie from the moment it began. People believed they were witnessing a fairy tale, in real life, in real time. But behind the glamour, a different reality was slowly forming. One layered with pressure, belief systems, and expectations no child could understand. Surrey's early years were shaped by forces far beyond her control. She didn't choose fame, fame chose her. And as she grew older, the cracks within the perfect family began to show. 3. Tom and Katie first crossed paths in 2005, and their chemistry was instant. Katie, bright and hopeful, had once admitted in a teen interview that she dreamed of marrying Tom. Nobody imagined that fantasy would one day become her life. Tom, already a worldwide icon, saw in her something that captivated him. Their connection moved quickly, almost too quickly for the public to process. They appeared everywhere, laughing, holding hands, looking inseparable. Even Tom's, famously, private demeanor melted whenever she was near. He seemed transformed, more open, more expressive, more unpredictable. And the entire world watched, fascinated, overwhelmed, and curious. 4. The moment that cemented their love in global memory came on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Tom jumped onto a couch, literally declaring his love for Katie. Some viewers found it sweet, others found it strange, but everyone talked about it. It became one of the most replayed TV moments of the decade. Whether romantic or bizarre, it revealed how deeply he felt. Shortly after, the couple announced they were expecting a baby. When Surrey arrived, Tom called her a miracle. He proudly spoke about her, carried her in his arms on red carpets, beamed at every photo. For a moment, it looked like they were living the dream. But beneath the joy, something else was beginning. 5. Much of their life was influenced by Scientology, a powerful organization Tom dedicated himself to. Katie, raised Catholic, stepped into a world she didn't fully understand. Her pregnancy followed Scientology customs, including a silent birth tradition. Tom reportedly even purchased medical equipment to monitor the pregnancy at home. To some, it was devotion. To others, it was control. Their wedding in Italy was extravagant, stunning, and heavily publicized. Stars from across the world attended, making it a global event. But while the world celebrated, Katie's parents worried quietly. They feared their daughter was entering a life with invisible boundaries. And with time, those boundaries became harder for her to ignore. 6. From 2007 onward, the couple's public image remained flawless, but their private world shifted. Katie's independence slowly faded, replaced by constant monitoring. Friends noticed she was rarely alone, always surrounded by members of Tom's inner circle. Even simple outings felt watched. Her smiles became rehearsed, her comments repeated, as if she were careful with every word. Journalists sensed the tension in subtle moments. Katie once said, "We don't go outside very much," surprising even those at her table. Tom, meanwhile, remained loyal to Scientology's structure. He believed deeply in its teachings and expectations. But those expectations were slowly creating a barrier between him and Katie. 7. Katie's parents visited less, sensing the distance growing between them and their daughter. Her closest friends said she became quieter, more guarded. Any mention of the church made the room tense. Katie's bright personality dimmed as she tried to balance her role as a wife and mother. She wanted to protect Surrey, but she also feared the consequences of stepping outside the structure. Tom's older children were already committed Scientologists, deeply involved in the organization. Many believed he expected the same path for Surrey. Yet Katie could not accept that future for her daughter. The fear, though silent, grew stronger each year. And slowly, she began planning a way out. 8. By 2010, rumors began swirling about troubles behind the scenes. Katie was attending fewer Scientology events. She began meeting old friends again, reconnecting with people from her past. She appeared in New York more often, without Tom by her side. Something was shifting, and those close to her saw it clearly. She wasn't just distancing herself, she was preparing. Every movement was quiet, discreet, and carefully thought out. She was gathering information, support, and legal guidance. Not out of spite, but out of fear. Fear for her daughter, and fear of what the future might hold. 9. Everything came to a head in June 2012. With precision and secrecy, Katie filed for divorce from Tom. The timing stunned everyone. It was just days before Tom's 50th birthday. He reportedly had no warning. Like the rest of the world, he learned through headlines. For a man known for control over his life, it was devastating. Behind the scenes, Katie had switched phones, replaced staff, and created new security measures. Her father, a respected lawyer, helped build the legal strategy. Choosing New York over California was a tactical decision. It gave her a better chance at sole custody of Surrey. 10. Katie wasn't trying to hurt Tom. She was trying to protect her daughter from a future she feared. Reports later suggested she believed Surrey could be sent into Scientology training programs. And she refused to allow it. Within 11 days, the divorce was finalized, an astonishingly fast resolution. Tom agreed to financial arrangements, but did not gain custody. Katie secured full decision-making power over Surrey's upbringing. Immediately afterward, she left Los Angeles behind. She and Surrey moved to New York, starting fresh. For the first time in years, they were truly alone. Life after the divorce changed instantly for both sides. Katie focused completely on rebuilding a sense of normalcy for her young daughter. School drop-offs, grocery shopping, quiet walks through the city, things she never had before. She blended into New York life like she had been waiting for this simplicity. Surrey, only 6 at the time, held her mother's hand tightly everywhere they went. The little girl once photographed on red carpets was suddenly riding scooters in downtown Manhattan. Katie enrolled her in private school, determined to give her structure and stability. Slowly, the fear faded, replaced with laughter and small routines. Their world shrank, but in a good way, smaller, safer, and real. Meanwhile, Tom's world grew louder as he buried himself in work. 12. In a 2013 deposition, Tom was questioned about why Katie suddenly left. When asked whether it was to protect Surrey from Scientology, he initially bristled. But shortly after, he admitted it was one of the reasons. It was a rare acknowledgement from him, and it said more than he intended. By then, Tom had seen Surrey only once since the divorce. No photos, no public outings, no confirmed visits after that. People wondered how a bond once so strong could disappear so quietly. Insiders said Tom continued paying her expenses, but presence is different from support. He stayed committed to massive film projects around the world. And with every year that passed, the distance grew. 13. Movies filled Tom's schedule. Mission Impossible films, global press tour, non-stop action sequences. Fans adored his dedication, his daring stunts, his unmatched work ethic. But behind all the applause, a quieter truth lingered. His youngest daughter was growing up without him. Birthdays passed, holidays passed, milestones happened without his presence. Meanwhile, Surrey thrived under her mother's care. She became thoughtful, observant, artistic, and surprisingly grounded for someone raised in the spotlight. Katie protected her, gently shielding her from invasive attention. Their life was normal enough for her to bloom without fear. But the shadow of the past was always there, even if unspoken. 14. As Surrey entered her teenage years, she became almost a mirror of her mother. Same expressions, same posture, same gentle confidence. But whenever someone mentioned her father, she simply looked away. There was no anger, just a quiet boundary she rarely crossed. Katie never spoke badly about Tom, at least not publicly. She focused on raising Surrey with kindness, independence, and stability. The two formed a bond that looked more like friendship than anything else. New Yorkers often saw them walking side by side, chatting softly. Their shared life was built on trust earned through hardship. Even without speaking about it, they understood each other. 15. By 2021, Surrey had become a young woman discovering who she wanted to be. She enrolled in LaGuardia High School, famous for producing talented artists. She sang, acted, directed projects with classmates, and slowly found her voice. But one choice stood out to everyone who noticed it. In her school musical program, her name appeared as Surrey Noel. She used her mother's middle name, not her father's last name. It wasn't a dramatic statement, it was a quiet reintroduction. A way of reshaping her identity on her own terms. It was the first public sign that she was defining her future. And the world paid attention. 16. When Surrey graduated high school in 2024, again the name, Surrey Noel, appeared on the list. Tom wasn't there. He was seen at a concert in London the same day. Katie, however, sat among the parents, holding back tears and smiling proudly. It was a full-circle moment, her daughter stepping into adulthood. The girl once shielded from the world now stood confidently before it. After graduation, Surrey applied to Carnegie Mellon University to study fashion. Katie helped her move into her dorm, carrying boxes like any normal mom. There were no bodyguards, no assistants, no fanfare. Just a mother and daughter building a life together. It was simple and beautiful. College life suited Surrey. She explored fashion, music, and writing, shaping her creativity in her own quiet way. Classmates said she was humble and soft-spoken, never acting like someone famous. In fact, many didn't even realize who her father was. For the first time, she wasn't defined by headlines or rumors. She was simply a student with dreams of working in design. Her bond with her mother remained strong, as steady as ever. Katie visited her quietly, avoided drawing attention, and gave her space to grow. Together, they built a life rooted in normalcy, not fame. A life that took years to achieve. In 2025, Surrey visited the set of a film Katie was directing. Crew members described her as poised, sweet, and quietly confident. She wore simple clothes, khakis, a white tank top, red sneakers, yet carried herself with grace. At 19, she looked nothing like the little girl the world once saw. She seemed calm, mature, and comfortable in her own identity. The name Noelle suited her. It represented freedom from the past. Those around her said she rarely mentioned her father. Not with bitterness, but with acceptance. Her life had moved forward without him. And she seemed at peace with that reality. 19. Later that year, a photo of Surrey made headlines again for the first time in years. She was sitting on a doorstep in New York, head in her hands, looking tired. Not dramatic, not staged, just a real moment of exhaustion. Katie arrived minutes later, sitting beside her with quiet concern. The two talked softly, then walked off together to grab pastries. It was an ordinary moment between a mother and daughter. But for those who knew their story, it carried deeper meaning. They had only ever relied on each other through every storm. They had built a world where vulnerability was safe. And that was something no amount of fame could replace. 20. Suri is now 19, exploring adulthood with a mixture of caution and hope. She studies fashion, writes music, and builds friendships outside the Hollywood bubble. She doesn't chase fame, nor does she hide from it. She simply lives on her own terms. Her relationship with Tom remains non-existent. There are no photos, no statements, no confirmed interactions in over a decade. Financially, he still covers her education and health needs. But emotionally, the connection has faded to silence. A silence that began with a divorce and grew into a chasm. A silence neither side has publicly tried to bridge. 21. Tom continues to dominate the film industry. He's preparing for projects involving NASA and SpaceX, even filming scenes in outer space. Fans admire his ambition and his ability to push physical limits. But some quietly wonder if the one distance he never crossed, the distance between him and Suri, is the one that will stay with him the longest. His life is filled with noise, action, and global attention. Suri's life is filled with softness, privacy, and quiet growth. Two paths moving farther apart. Two stories that were once one. 22. Katie, now older and wiser, focuses on gratitude instead of resentment. She rarely speaks about the past and never fuels drama. She simply says she is proud of the young woman Suri has become. Those close to her say motherhood gave her strength she never expected. Protecting her daughter became her life's biggest mission. And she succeeded, even when the world doubted her. Her relationship with Suri has become her anchor. A reminder that love sometimes means choosing the harder path. She built a home where her daughter could grow freely, far from the noise of Hollywood. 23. Suri's new identity, her chosen name, her chosen life, shows how far she has come from the world she was born into. She carries the weight of a story she never asked to inherit. A story of love, control, silence, and survival. She didn't break away with anger. She simply grew into someone different. Someone who wanted peace more than publicity. Her choices speak louder than any interview ever could. And her quiet strength is what defines her now. Not her last name. 24. For nearly 2 decades, the world has watched this family from a distance. Some hoped for reconciliation, others accepted the separation. But the truth remains more delicate than headlines suggest. This is not a story of heroes or villains. It is a story of choices, painful, powerful, necessary. A father who continued upward into superstardom. A daughter who stepped sideways into her own light. A mother who fought silently for her child's future. 3 lives once intertwined, now living separate chapters. Each shaped by love, fear, and truth. 25. As Suri Noel walks into adulthood, one question lingers. Will she ever let her father back into her life? Is time strong enough to heal what silence created? Or are some distances simply too wide to close? Only the future will reveal that answer. For now, she lives in the world she chose, not the one chosen for her. A world where she can breathe, grow, and define herself freely. A world where her name reflects her truth. Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more untold stories that reveal the heart behind the headlines.